Lionscreed up against Mythos. Now, I'm kind of excited for this one. I think if you've been keeping up, perhaps you guys know why as well. I'm Scriv, of course. Joining me once again is going to be the Governor. We're straight into the champ select here. And indeed, those picks and bans getting underway. A few bans coming through. A lot of jungle bans, actually, from the side of Lionscreed. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, we've got some, I suppose, just strong laners at the moment.
Yeah, Silas can be flexed in towards that jungle position, so that's four really high-tier junglers actually being taken away very early. I'm not entirely sure where that's going on. I know that Atto does have some other picks that he can come up with anyway, so I don't think he's going to feel the pinch too much. The real highlight of this game, I think, will be the changes that Lionscreed have made since the start. So they had a new top laner for their first game, and now this week they've brought in a new mid player in Aero. We'll find out. I'm sure he'll make a Twitter post about me pronouncing his name wrong. But Aero, we'll go with Aero for now. He's played in sort of low-level French scene so far. Challenger 600 LP, so going to be rivaling Bendix, who we saw MVP candidate from last game, sort of rivaling him maybe for the top spot as the best player within the league. But it'll be really interesting to see how Lionscreed adapt to this new team. And Lovesick, having not the best performance last week, I think he'll be feeling a lot more confident now, having a bit more practice and having some really strong solo laners around him.
Yeah, on the Elise last week, right? So I think it's kind of a tough one. You really have to have that impact in the early game.
Yeah, definitely.
But we'll see. They've pulled out a lot of jungle bans here. Feel like the Annie is definitely going to be a placeholder in this case.
Yeah.
So hopefully should be able to find out about that one. But makes sense as well going for the Aatrox when the Kled's banned away. It's kind of super safe. From my experience, though I'm not as high-low as some of these guys, I don't think it's like the toughest matchup for Aatrox, in all fairness. You can kind of in and out and into Kled. So, Aatrox
it's really,
just kind of
really
does a lot
bad.
Of damage at the end of the day.
It's really, really bad for Aatrox now with the change. So good read from the side of Lionscreed actually to pick it up when they've banned the Kled already. It means that there's no real hard counter within the meta towards Aatrox. He's still probably the most prevalent on this patch as a top laner, and he's one of the strongest picks in the game at the moment. So great for them to be able to pick it up and not have any counters, so any huge counters on the board as well.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Again, the Amumu coming in. Yuumi definitely interesting. Even despite the nerfs and whatnot coming through to her, she is still a nuisance, still incredibly difficult to play against, incredibly safe as well. I do believe we've just got confirmation that the Annie is in fact Azir, so I would imagine 100% going towards that mid lane. Would be interesting to see. I mean, Azir is kind of, again, creeping in, coming back into the meta, and the probably the king of the control mages, all about just sort of farming up, keeping you at arm's length, and then trying to force those fights, of course, with the Shriemer Shuffle. But up against the Corki is maybe as spectators, what we would be a little bit disheartened to see, because it can be somewhat of a slow lane for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, Azir Corki, as you said, bit of a slow lane, not really much interaction going on there. But Azir, really, really high skill cap champion, so it's great to see a challenger mid player get his hands on that. Hopefully we'll see a lot of skill expression within that lane matchup. But we do see the Amumu is Rakan as well, as we're being told. Yeah, okay. Pretty good pickup as well, I think. He's pretty strong right now, and it is smart from the side of Lionscreed to ban out that Xayah, another strong pick within the meta right now, and also pairing up quite well with it. But I assume Oliver is just very confident on the Rakan, so he'll be picking it up. Nocturne, I don't think that will be a proxy pick. The jungle pool has been pinched out quite severely, so maybe that's just his fallback option to go on to. Nocturne, really important pick around the level 6 mark. You can kind of measure a Nocturne and his performance for the rest of the game by how well his first ultimate goes.
Right.
Really high impact there as well. And it looks like the Rek'Sai will be taken on the side of Lovesick as well. Another aggressive early game jungler for Lovesick. He's not seen the new high elo players come in for the top and the mid lane and thought, I'm just going to play Sejuani, play low econ champions. He's still picking these aggressive junglers, and hopefully we'll see a bit of a better early game performance from him this week into the Nocturne, where he'll have pretty much full reign until the level 6 mark.
Oh my goodness. This is a huge, hopefully get that lobby sorted out, but this is a huge ultimate-based kind of protection sort of comp, maybe onto the Nocturne, maybe around, well, probably around the Corki, but, combined with the Karma, and then you've got the Shen that could, in theory, dive in with the Nocturne as well.
Mm-hmm.
There is a world in which there is sort of no stopping this Mythos team for sure. If this works out, their team fight is going to be incredibly, incredibly strong.
Yeah, definitely. And the Ollie bot lane will be coming in. They'll hope to have a bit of a better performance than last week. I think KZ now, with a really, really strong mid laner and an extremely strong top laner, he'll have a lot of the pressure taken off of him. Last week, he was the best player on their team. He did manage to hold himself quite well and keep Lionscreed in it for a lot longer than they really should have, especially when he managed to get a few kills in team fights on that Xayah, and he was a real strong point for their team. Now, with being paired up with some really strong solo laners, hopefully he can shine even more and lead Lionscreed to their first win as well.
Yeah, certainly going to be interesting to see how these newer changes come in. There is perhaps the argument that if you've got the good team play, if you can work together well, you can definitely overcome the higher skilled, let's say, opponents that you're playing against. I think it will be interesting to see. You can't just be relying on those individuals, although maybe you can. We saw in the previous game, Bendix just absolutely steamrolling, given a little bit of peel and got to a position where he was unkillable, undefeatable, unstoppable. So there is definitely potential, and a champion that carries that potential again is the Azir. So it certainly will be interesting to see how Aero carries the mantle, so to speak.
Yeah, we'll just get back in now. The proxy picks will be accounted for, so we will be able to see the full team comps again. Like I said before, my memory ain't so great. I'll have to be reminded of it by the teams before we get in, just for a little bit more of an analysis just as to how this game is going to go. I am still, after I've seen the comps, I'm still heavily in favor of Lionscreed coming out with the win on this one. Hopefully the changes that they've made will be really beneficial towards them. But if they want to be a top 4 team, they need to be having convincing wins against teams like Mythos. If they don't come out guns blazing in this game and have a really strong performance, then I'll worry for them getting that top 4.
Yeah, definitely. It's a test for sure, and one that they should be successful in with flying colours ultimately. But it is, again, an interesting team to play against in terms of the comp. Like you say, this comp over on the Lionscreed side, a little bit stronger overall. But again, we've seen that Corki, how he can take over games. And here, it does seem he's got a little bit more protection, a little bit more peel in the form of course, the Shen and the Rakan particularly can be very, very safe, very, very hard to play against. And again, the double AD comp, constant DPS, it is nothing to shake a stick at. You do need to be very careful not to allow this to get out of control.
This game will be decided at level 6. If Shen and Nocturne can get off some really, really good ultimates and create a lot of pressure on the map and get a lot of gold into the side of Mythos, they have a chance. If that level 6 does not go well, it's like 90%. I think it's 90% win for the side of Lionscreed. It's all just going to be culminating within a level 6 play.
Also, something that is really interesting to note. So, of course, we have global ultimate from Shen. I guess we could say semi-global paranoia from Nocturne. There's also 3 TPs here as well. So there is a lot of potential to kind of move around the map quickly and catch off a mistake or an over-aggressive extension from some of the laners over on the Lionscreed side. Although saying that, they also have 3 TPs, and then you can bring the Yuumi along with the Ezreal.
Yeah, that's the thing you have to be worried about. Yeah, they have the Shen that has a lot more access to other sides of the map with his ultimate and his teleport, but Ezreal TP with Yuumi can just bring 2 people into a fight like that, and that's going to be a real worry for them as well. So many TPs in this game. We've got TP on both bot laners. Unfortunately, the Rakan won't be able to follow the Karma like the Ezreal can, so that could have a lot of impact when we see the fights later. But while we wait to get into the game, we are just going to take a quick break, play an ad, but we'll be back in a sec.
No one is coming to save you.
You make them again, 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 again. All the lies that you told, did you believe in them? All the choices you made, did you make them again, 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 again? All the lies that you told, did you believe in them? Again, 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 again. You make them all the choices you made, did you make them
All the choices you made, did you make them
did you make them All the choices you made, did you make them again, 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 again?
I want you to show me how to get to know
Someone like you, someone like you. I want you to know me, 'cause I know then you'll see we could be true. We could.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are going to be getting into the game then. We'll have to find out how things are going to go. I don't think we're both kind of in the same boat. Not going to be too many crazy shenanigans, but Lionscreed up against Mythos, of course. A little bit of an attempt in at middle. Nothing coming, though. The Yuumi, unfortunately, not able to find any of that early gold. Of course, there's been some cheese strats for that in the past. Namely the attacking a tower and dying to it to get yourself another health pot, but
Don't want to sacrifice
I don't
your
think we're going to
KDA
be
for
seeing
it,
anything like that.
And a good
Yeah,
aggressive
of
ward
course,
coming
man.
in there from the side of Lionscreed. Nothing too extreme in the early game, though. No invades coming out. They do have the Klepto on the Lucian, not Lucian, sorry, the Ezreal, so they could move in and try and get a bit of free gold there, but yeah, fairly standard start from both teams. And I will just point towards the Karma, actually, in this bot lane. A bit more of an untraditional pick, and honestly, I think that makes them lack a little bit of damage. I think Corki will be able to make up for it, but if Insoy doesn't have a good game and doesn't get ahead, and he's against a challenger 600 LP mid laner, that's a lot of pressure to be putting on him, and if he's going to be the one that has to pump out a lot of the damage, maybe it's not going to work out so much. So I definitely prefer the comp coming out of Lionscreed here. I think they've got a pretty strong top side, really good mid laner, really strong combo in the bot lane, two of the strongest picks in the meta right now, in the Ezreal and the Yuumi, and I'm feeling happy about our prediction for Lionscreed. It's the only unanimous prediction of the night for a reason.
Yeah, I think we're all also very excited to see what Aero can get done in the mid lane. But it will be interesting, like you say, it kind of adds with that Karma in the bot lane, with the Glacial Augment once again, adds the forcing the fight. Mythos want to fight. They're probably, going to get to one or two items on most of their laners particularly, and then just look to duel for as long and as hard as possible, because I think that's kind of what this comp screams to me, and the way that they're going with things. And maybe it'll work out, but then it's kind of like, if your lanes aren't winning, if they're not actually in a strong position, then what difference does it make at the end of the day?
And we see both junglers just moving up towards the top side of things now. We do see Rek'Sai pinging onto the red, so they're going to go for an invade. They know that the Nocturne's on it.
I mean, of course, early on as well, this Azir is going to have the priority in the mid lane, albeit slightly, but going to look to just sort of shove in a little bit and force the Corki away. Meanwhile, top lane has got heavy priority, so there you go. Lovesick going to steal away the red. That's all we're going to see, though, unfortunately, for the excitement. Not a great deal coming in, but it's still, a good buff to steal away for sure.
Yeah, definitely, and just as long as the longer you can keep Nocturne away from his level 6, the better. And great play from Lovesick to come in there. He knows how good his champion is in the early game, and Nocturne not as strong. Comes in, gets the red buff, triple buff for the side of Lionscreed. Great start from them. And we pointed towards Lovesick for not having a great game last week on another early game aggressive jungler. So to be able to come out there, triple buff your opponent is much better.
Ooh, this could be slightly interesting. I mean, it's a fairly good trade from both sides, about even. Extra cheeky going in towards the minion wave there, thinking the block is enough, but of course Aatrox's not so bothered. So long as you can get the final proc of his Darken Blades, I'll hold the point. Okay, no, we're going to get the Arcane Shift away. But so long as he can get the final proc of the Darken Blades, in the center for that maximum damage, you're probably going to win most trades against most top laners, just because of the amount of damage that it's able to dish out, really. Especially into a melee matchup like this one, you can just see he's not really all that bothered at the minute. It's a little bit difficult for the Shen to get away if his taunt is down from the Umbral Chains. So that Aatrox is just going to be bullying in the top lane. Already got a 10 CS lead. There's also around close to a 10 CS lead in the mid lane as well. So this is kind of the issue, right? The comp that they've gone for over on Mythos is all about team fighting, but like I say, if you're not strong, what's the point? You're just going to be walking, just essentially like forcing fights that you shouldn't be taking.
Yeah, and like great trades coming out from No Hands Wolfo No hands Woofo. What even is that? But no, he's showing a lot of prowess on this champion. He's been he's been playing pretty well with going into the trades under tower as well, not taking too much damage and healing up there. And he's gonna force the Shen to back here, or he has come back in to try and get the CS. Shen does always have the taunt under tower. It's very scary to go up against him, but full health Aatrox won't be too worried about it.
Oh, got to be careful here as well. That Umbral Trains is going to land. He's going to go for this. Okay, that's a little bit unclean. Maybe a bit greedy for it. Again, like you say, with that taunt available, I also don't think he flashed to the maximum range. At the very least, they trade flash for flash, so he can be happy with that. But I don't think Extra Cheeky needed to flash, honestly. Just a bit of a panic flash coming through.
Yeah, no, better to be safe than sorry. And we will see with the way that
also true.
The lane is positioned here. When that wave hits the top side, it will push back into no hands. So that's going to be really good for him. He's going to come back into lane, be able to take up most of that CS, and that's a pretty huge CS deficit in the top side being taken up now.
Yeah, it is going to be a problem for sure. And, almost a kill under tower, almost a solo kill under tower against a Shen, is not something that you see very often. So that Aatrox definitely, confident. And again, this is coming down to something that we talked about a little bit in the previous game, where perhaps, they're not feeling as confident in their picks because they're going for more of a team comp kind of draft rather than a comfort draft. Do have the Rek'Sai coming in. Are they going to go for the dive? They are not even going to need to go for it, honestly. The Umbral Chains is going to be enough. One tower hit is taken, but ultimately a clean first blood coming in. And I don't know, man. Extra Cheeky has been committing pretty hard with these taunts. Shen has a great deal of gank assist. Just wait for your jungler and you can kind of lock him down pretty easily, especially once that Nocturne hits 6, can ult in, from very far away, not necessarily going to be seen. That no hands Woofo is loving a fight, but you kind of give it to him. And
yeah, and we talked about this level 6 play from both of the
sure.
sides, and Shen coming in with a level 6 there. Instantly, Rek'Sai's there, he gets the kill. Atto will be hitting the level 6 soon, so hopefully they're probably just waiting for the Nocturne plus Shen 6 to come in for the combo. But the sooner the Extra Cheeky can get out of this lane and try and put some impact on the other side of the map, the better. They do have a TP advantage on the top side now for the Aatrox, so he will be able to match it quite evenly. The ultimate from the Aatrox will be coming up soon as well, so I'm not sure that the Shen 6 play is guaranteed, even with the Nocturne, if the Aatrox has managed to come back in there as well. And if Aatrox can constantly push out this lane now with the advantage that he's got, it's going to be really difficult for Shen to make those roams impactful.
They do manage to get the Cloud Drake, but not really a great deal. I mean, might make it easier for the Nocturne to move around, get his ult off a bit quicker. But this top lane is about to become a hell of a lot harder. I mean, the Aatrox up to 20% CD as well. And, again, it's kind of in his kit just intrinsically. There's so much damage. You get that Q, the Darkened Blade up to level 9, and suddenly you start kind of half HP, and if you land the entirety of your combo. So maybe not against a Shen, to be fair. But all the same, the damage and the pain that the 20 CS deficit plus a kill is feeling, it's about to get a lot worse for sure.
Yeah, and we do see Nocturne hit 6 now. He'll be looking to try and do something soon. May just look to top side and try and help out Extra Cheeky a little bit, but I don't foresee them winning that 2v2 if it does occur, really. We do see him moving towards mid lane, as well as Lovesick.
Yeah, this could be interesting. The two junglers may be about to meet. Yeah, Lovesick has been spotted. Do they fancy the fight, though? That's the real question. Atto just kind of waiting patiently. They are indeed going to go for it. The Paranoia comes in. He has to flash away from the tethers. Shurima Shuffle will be enough, but it's not going to be enough to survive so many flashes to get over the Emperor's Divide in order to find a kill back. Kind of have to beg the question. It's a hell of a lot spent. It goes on to the Nocturne, not the Corki, which would have been, ideal. And it does kind of sacrifice a little bit of pressure here towards the bot side, where the Karma did have quite a strong CS lead as well. And now, Ezreal able to even things back up. Meanwhile, in the top lane, I think this is going to be where our adventure maybe comes in. But now that, he's died, I think Extra Cheeky is definitely going to be respecting the Aatrox, so maybe not as much action as there once
Yeah,
was.
and a great roam from Ollie there to come in and pick up that kill. They do blow a lot on his side, so he's not going to be as strong. Oh, sorry, Oliver, not
Right.
Ollie. But
Yeah, it's going to get confusing.
Ollie manages to just sit back, farm the wave out that gets pushed into him. The Ezreal and Yuumi did take the advantage when they saw it to push things up and maybe try and get a bit of damage on the tower, but it doesn't really amount to anything. Like I said, great run from the Rakan to be able to come in there and guarantee the kill for his team. And we actually didn't see the Shen ult come out either, so they still have that as an option.
Interesting to kind of see here from the Corki. I suppose Azir not necessarily bursty, but going straight in towards the Triforce. Not really scared of the magic damage. Atto is going to get the fear, but of course the tunnel gets Lovesick away. But we are starting to see, this jungle matchup sway a little bit in favor of the side of the Nocturne, of Atto. And as well, something to consider.
Nocturne ulti is back in about 30 seconds, but it's a good E away from Aero to be able to escape that. Yeah,
I think going to be savvy to the fact, right? Because the Karma, the one thing about it in this bot lane, fairly safe to just farm up on her own for a little while, especially because KZ not going anywhere. He's no mana. There's no real kill potential coming in. They have good numbers and good, information as to where Lovesick is at the moment. Atto seems to be on his case pretty readily. Here we go with the TPs, though. We're going to see a bit of action in towards middle. Not going so well, has to be said, with that Shen ultimate coming in. The Stand Unite will be effective. Yuumi has come through with the Ezreal, but it does not really matter. Oh my goodness, a brilliant snipe coming in. Meanwhile, No Hands Woofer, what can you get done, my friend? I mean, this is a 1v4 essentially. Is that him flashing in as well? I just saw. I mean, that is super aggressive. Really not feeling it. Gonna get away as well. The Shen not taking any chances as he flashes away, and that was a desperate recovery. No Hands Woofer kind of making a bad situation worse. As at the moment, Mythos looking really, really good. They go, what, 2 for 0 there, I believe?
Yeah, and it all happened very, very quickly, but that's what you want to be getting out of those crucial ultimates with Shen and Nocturne. They do manage to pull a little bit of a gold lead through that after the no hands play 1v4 for some reason, but you do also see Corki now. He's picked up the Triforce. He's going to be really strong. He also has the package. I don't suspect they'll be giving up that dragon that's just spawned too easily. I don't think the Lionscreed will even go for a contest, really. I mean, in the situation that dragon and the previous one to it is a mountain or an inferno, it could have been even worse, but it's not too bad. 2 Windrakes being picked up. It's not too great. It's not too bad for either side. But we do also see now the Aatrox should be moving on to his Black Cleaver soon. Once he picks that up, as well as the Conqueror, he will start to really dominate the Shen. I mean, we've seen him have a huge advantage before. Once that's picked up, it will get even worse, but the Corki package just blown there. Didn't manage to get too much out of it, but Lovesick moving in.
Ooh. Looking for something here. Again, the paranoia coming through. That damage is actually huge.
As well,
considering we're 13 minutes into the game. The Ignite is enough to finish off the Yuumi as well. That's actually huge. Indeed, like you say, no ultimate for Shen, but TP available. So moves in to threaten at the very least, and I suppose at this point confirm the Rift Herald.
And
Absolutely huge stuff though. Mythos looking so good.
Yeah, and we talked about the Lovesick. He needs to improve from last week. That aggressive play there, moving in onto the Corki W after it had already gone out. Not great. Going straight onto the package. I was about to say, Corki package hasn't really done anything, but it definitely picked them up the kill there with the CC that it provided and the damage as well.
Yeah, it is so interesting to see as well, just the way that this Karma is kind of evolving. In the fact that she's now, sat in the top lane, going to be kind of difficult for Aatrox to take her down, really. She can play fairly safe and farm fairly safe if they're going to be laning against each other a little bit more readily. I'm not entirely sure that it wouldn't make as much sense. I think she's probably just there catching waves.
Yep.
Although she seems to be going back top, so I'm not entirely sure what the plan is. But it's only 14-15 minutes in, so it's not like we're really out of the laning phase yet, honestly.
Smart moves from Mythos to move the Karma into the lane against the Aatrox. It's going to do way better, like you said, against against the Aatrox as opposed to it would do if it was the Shen versus the Aatrox. That would have gone even worse, and now he has picked up the Black Cleaver. He is looking to move into the bot side, though, to go against that Shen instead. Or actually, no. Oh, no, he's moving back up now, anyway.
Yeah, it seems comfortable going for it. Again, Ezreal, kind of part of the safety of picking him. Can be fairly okay by himself. Again, fairly easy to just, spam the Qs away. Arcane Shift, if anything, gets a bit dicey. Not really going to be able to kill anything. We do have the Bramble Vest coming in, interestingly enough, which, in a sense, although he's not AD, does also counter the Azir a little bit with, the heavy autoplay coming in from him, generally speaking. But, for the most part, I think it is definitely so that he can survive the Aatrox when they meet up again later on in the game.
Yeah,
and the Ezreal for the time being.
Yeah, there's not too much...
Ooh. Okay, they are actually going to be able to spot him out. I was going to say, I thought he'd made it out. Honestly, Aero, though, the challenger player, getting caught off guard. And that is the risk as well. Even though he'd kind of moved away, they have enough vision on him, thanks to the Rakan spotting him out, that it's just an easy paranoia to come through. And again, this damage from the Nocturne is absolutely massive. Extra cheeky trying to go in here. I mean, he could definitely auto him down. Yeah, the Corki is the main thing here for sure, and just keeping KZ occupied, that's all really the Shen needed to do, despite the fact that, he misses the taunt, which is what I was thinking in my head. What KZ's thinking in his head is like, he's not got taunt, I can kite him easily enough, this should be fine. But then the Corki comes in, catches you off guard, so it was all a big bait in the end.
Yeah, and we spoke about in the early game that when the level 6s come in, that's the turning point of this game and where this game will be decided, and it didn't happen straight away. But once they actually managed to get that play off, since then it's been the Mythos show.
Indeed, bit of action in at mid. Lovesick, going to commit as well with the ultimate, and that's not ideal. Just not as Shen had ulted on.
Yeah, not respecting the Shen on there at all.
One.
Goes straight in on him. Lovesick again. He's just being too aggressive in these plays, and he's going for too much. There's no need to feel desperate right now. You still have the Aatrox, who's very strong in his 1v1 matchup. You have Azir, who's going to scale really well, similarly to the Ezreal. He's still picking up a lot of items. There's no need to go for these extremely aggressive plays. And it's just giving over more and more gold to the Mythos side that are already extremely ahead.
I think Lovesick maybe feeling, a little bit too solo QE in mindset, kind of the idea, especially as a jungler, that you are required to, be proactive and be aggressive and get fed and get kills in order to kind of gain control of the map and the game as a part of it. And like you say, just not relying on those lanes, not thinking about the bigger picture, and perhaps not putting as much trust into his teammates as he would like. An aggressive package forwards, and it's a lot spent. Oh my goodness, the W from Atto, a beautiful spell shield coming in from him as he makes it through the Emperor's Divide. And the Umbral Chains just narrowly missing. No kills, but a nice few summoners taken away from the Lionscreed side. In fact, 4 of them. Heal, Exhaust, and 2 flashes.
Yeah, no, both carries there losing their flash now. They will be much more scared of Atto when he comes in on that Nocturne, and they also have to worry about the Shen flash taunt. There's nothing for them to get away from that. Ezreal and Azir both still have their sort of disengage from their spells, but much more volatile in the team fight now.
Yeah, definitely interesting. They're going relatively aggressive for this Cloud Drake. The final chapter coming through on
the Aatrox Q. Oh my god.
Look at the damage, man. That is absolutely huge. I mean, just the pure damage that he delivers, plus the adaptive damage from the Yuumi being on his back. Atto as well, trying to get out. No Hands Woofo has got some real interesting plays. I mean, it's going to work out, though, I feel. He's got pretty much everything available, making it look like he's running away. Oh, beautiful little W coming through. Again, the spell shield timing is fantastic, has to be said, but just too much damage at the end of the day. This Aatrox, absolutely huge.
Yeah, and they first picked it for a reason. It's come through really well in that team fight there. I'd love to see a little damage graph for what he did, because those 2 Qs were insane. They managed to deal so much damage and almost win the team fight single-handedly.
take a look at the gold, and KZ at minus 200 at the moment, so has the futures market on. Which again, I think is something, you know, solo queue you probably wouldn't see it so much, but into the team-based, you know, tournaments, team play and whatnot, can definitely make a difference in terms of your vision and things like that.
Yeah, and Corki with his item spike right now with the Triforce and the Infinity Edge, he's going to be dealing a lot more damage, and we saw it in the last game how much he can pump out when he has enough peel around himself, and we spoke at the start of the game how much pressure will be on him to be dealing the damage in the fights, and with those items he will start to be able to fulfill that a little bit more. But the Nocturne's still doing quite well within these fights. It's not over for Mythos yet. They still have a gold lead, they still have the Drake advantage. Although the scaling from the side of Lionscreed will be something to worry about, it's not all over.
No, definitely true. We will have to kind of see how it goes. Like you say, that Corki going to be very strong. Needs to be kept away from the Aatrox, though. At the end of the day, if he can, you know, proc the Conqueror and get, as we saw, just the 2 Qs, the second and the third specifically. The Darkened Blade does a hell of a lot of damage. But we'll see. Again, they still have the overall pressure because Aatrox is in the bot lane. Does have TP available, but all the same, you know, Shen being a nuisance, doing a bit of damage, keeping him a little bit low here or there. They are trying to pressure the Baron. I don't know whether they win this 4-on-4, in all honesty, but I suppose at this point, neither team really confident in taking any kind of a fight. So just going to force each other off the Baron and try and trade some objectives.
They do have the advantage over this mid tower here, and they probably will take it down, actually, if we move to it. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so fairly simple stuff. I also feel like in the bot lane, eventually Nohan's Wuffo will get this tower. Doesn't seem too bothered, and well, Extra Cheeky's got to be careful. Ooh, okay, doesn't quite get the tower. Going to try and go for this, though. Will indeed land 2 TP coming in. The Paranoia as well. It's deep from Nohan's Wuffo. Can he trade at least one? No. A beautiful block comes down.
That is a huge amount
Shen
expended,
will just survive.
That's a TP gone. It's the Nocturne ulti as well. I mean, they get the tower and nothing's going to happen now. I mean, it's great to get the kill, but I don't think the full investment of the TP was maybe necessary, but fair enough to take it as well. I mean, they've got 3 TPs on the team as well as a Shen ulti, so you can see them. You can see why they're happy to let it go.
Honestly, just keeping the Aatrox in check as well, not letting him expand out of control. I think if he got another kill there and, you know, more pressure in towards the bot side of things, maybe even pushing towards that tower. It's kind of, you know, the strength of Mythos that they have at the moment with this kind of slim gold lead and the kills that they have and the spread of gold. They don't want that Aatrox getting too powerful because he really can take over a game. I think going to move in towards the Sterax from here, then maybe a GA afterwards. Could be unstoppable, but here we go. Package coming in towards middle. KZ not looking long for this world at all as he gets 3 targets onto him pretty immediately. Doesn't really matter if you're getting the good spell shields here, though, Atto, because he's left alone. The Void Rush will take him down. However, the Corki, look at the damage. Aatrox getting some resets. Needs to get a kill quickly, though. Oh, my goodness. A huge Darkened Blade comes in. He will run out of the World Ender, but the fact that he's been able to stay alive for so very long has created the room for Aero to find a number of kills. Aatrox stays alive. And man alive, that World Ender healing is just crazy.
Yeah, and we highlighted the solo laners from this team as someone to be afraid of, and they've proven that in that team fight there. The Azir pumping out a huge amount of damage, the amount of healing that came out then from the Aatrox as well to be able to sustain the fight and pump out the damage as well. It was a great little bit of synergy from them there as well to have the Azir push everyone into that final Aatrox queue for a huge amount of damage. After the great Corki move in from his huge package, and then the Shen ulti combined with it, I was really worried, and I thought that that's 100% Mythos won the fight, but they managed to turn it pretty well.
Well, listen, the issue at the moment as well is it's a massive amount of healing, even with kind of the grievous wounds, which at the moment only being supplied by the Bramble Vest.
Yeah,
so it's not like there's a great deal. There's not really a massive AP threat in terms of, you know, Morellos, and of course the fact that they have the Corki kind of has a very regimented build that you kind of have to go for. Taking a sidetrack for an Executioner's Calling can definitely make a difference. So Aatrox at the moment, pretty huge. Pretty huge.
Yeah, definitely. I will hope to see an Executioner's calling coming out from... It'd probably have to be the Corki at this point. He has just picked up his 3-item spike, which probably means a bit more to him in terms of taking out the rest of the team. But after he's taken that now, maybe after he's picked up the boots, I will hope for him to be taking some more of that those Grievous Wound items.
Yeah, maybe Atto can move towards it as well, but I think is shaping up to get a Shojin's here, possibly into a Black Cleaver as well, but I think the Shojin's a little bit better, especially with just pumping out those ultimates as often as possible. But yeah, the win condition was all about the team fighting on the side of Mythos, and they had some really, really good plays early. It has given them an early advantage, but it is kind of falling by the wayside. You know, the Azir has farmed up relatively untouched in that previous fight, and the Aatrox is just probably the best bruiser I think the game has had for quite a while, especially if you are good on it, especially if you are, you know, syncing up like we saw the Shen taunt, like you mentioned. You just survive for so very long. Not going to get spotted out here, but that Karma, of course, a little bit of a counter in a very small sense. That the Umbral Chain's really not doing anything.
Yeah, I do worry for the scaling, not just from what you see in the comps, but the damage type coming from Mythos side is going to be primarily AP in the Corki and the Karma. The Nocturne is going to start to fall off, and he's not going to be doing as much damage. He'll still be quite a threat as an assassin towards the backline, but the lack of AD damage on the side of Mythos is going to be a real worry for them when things start picking up to around the 30-40 minute mark. We do see Baron is spawned right now. They're trying to get a bit more vision cover on it. Both teams still holding things. No one really has a huge amount of control over it at the moment. We see Oliver moving in, clearing that out now.
Yeah, trying to just get a little bit of control to at least threaten it. It's tough though, man. There's so much kind of damage being pumped out. That Aatrox, can't ignore him, but the Azir and the Ezreal, they can just kind of fight from so far back that it really is. And especially this Yuumi, you know, has so many targets she can stick around on. Ezreal a little bit tanky with the Iceborne as always, and the Arcane shifts away.
I'm gonna
the
go for the Baron now, though.
shields.
Maybe.
Oh, I mean, they're really not feeling it.
They'll want to be using the Corki package when they can, though. And we do also see that Corki, like we said, has picked up the Executioner's Calling now. He will be able to deal with that Aatrox a little bit more, as Aatrox has also picked up the Death's Dance, so he'll have a bit of extra healing there. But if he's affected by the Grievous Wounds, it's still not going to matter much.
This could be interesting, though, because No Hands Wuffo started to move towards the bot side of things. They actually do get off it. So I was going to say, you know, he'd started to move towards the bot side of things, was a little bit later than the rest of his team if they'd have hard committed and, you know, had to try and fight there. Really could have made the difference. This is a nice little rotation, though, in towards the top side of things.
A little bit of a base race.
They are going to lose
here.
the mid tower. Yeah, it does look like it at this point in time.
Red side of
Not
cave,
really
though.
fancying it. I think they're going to lose an inhib for this here as well.
Yeah, most likely. You do see the rest of the team backing now, but they don't have enough time to get back and stop that. Pretty poor insight from the side of Mythos there, not really recognizing that it's going to take them a bit longer to take those kills. Sorry, those towers.
Yeah.
And they didn't have their full 5-man with them as well. But that's what we're talking about as well. The lack of AD damage on that side of the team is not going to help you with tower pushes. The Corki can do a decent chunk of damage, but apart from that, it's not really going to do a whole amount. Yeah,
and I mean, the Ezreal does more, and the Azir as well dishes out a fair amount now that he's starting to build up a little bit of attack speed. But of course, Paul's coming in here. Hopefully won't be waiting too long on that. Try and update you guys as and when we can.
We'll just take
but all the
stock
same,
of the gold leads in the games now. Still very heavily as a top side. That's been an issue for the side of Mythos for the entire game now. Huge huge gold lead coming in through from, well, CS and gold coming in for the Corki as well. Insoy really actually proving himself quite well into this challenger mid matchup with him. He has had a lot of assistance from Atto, but it still shows a lot of skill from the player to be able to hold himself quite well and be able to pick up a lot of kills within the team fights and still be farming correctly. I mean, you know, he's got 100 more than almost any other player on any team. So yeah, shows a lot from him. Yeah, definitely. It's really gonna make a difference. Also sat on a fair amount of gold
So we'll see where that goes. Picked up the Executioner's Calling. Interesting to note. So maybe going to make a difference in the next fight if that Aatrox is not as comfortable as possible. There's also the threat of the Shen supplying the same kind of thing.
Yeah, we do see the
But
pause.
we'll have to see.
Yeah, do see the pause.
Okay,
going back
cool.
in
Yeah,
the
we are
the
going
ulti.
okay. And as soon as it's
Oh!
unpaused, indeed, the ult goes in. Unfortunately, I mean, massive knockups from the Rakan, but there's nobody to follow up. There's nobody to help out. And it just looks like the damage coming through because of a split team fight, an absolutely huge Emperor's Divide in the middle of everything. There's bits of damage traded back, but ultimately, again, this Aatrox is just right at the forefront of everything, combined with a nice bit of damage coming through. I believe the double
They're
kill
going to the end of the game.
from... Okay, this is interesting. A double kill from the Azir, but yeah, I think this
they
is
can do it.
probably doable for them. In all honesty, again, with the Ezreal, the Aatrox perhaps
got
able
about
to
30
face tank, but yeah,
seconds.
only losing Lovesick. They're feeling it. We'll see what the Karma can get done. TP coming back in as Azir back to bought some items. The Rakan and the Karma to try and hold it down. They're doing as best as they can.
About 10
They've got to
seconds
wait
left.
at least another 10 seconds. It's not going to
Yeah, they've done it.
happen. Oh my goodness. It was close. And I mean, with a gold deficit overall, but those later game team fights just absolutely unwinnable for Mythos, honestly. The fight in the jungle, a little bit ill-advised against the Emperor's
definitely.
Divide, doing literally what it says on the tin, dividing the team in two, just really ripping them apart towards the end.
Yeah, no, it was a very desperate play there from the Nocturne to go in there and try so hard to get something off, but it's not the position where you want to be fighting against an Aatrox and an, well, the entire team really. Azir, Ezreal